I want to share the screen really quickly and get to this conversation. So, yay, as predicted, and I actually talked about this. I thought this was already in place, but Ye is confirmed that his wife Bianca actually has left him, and he said that he had a panic attack over the rants over a new song. Uh, y'all can go and listen to the song if y'all want.
So
I don't want it
dumb.
to mess with the stream, but it's called Bianca. I think it sounds pretty horrible. It's a pretty bad song in my opinion. But he confirmed in the song that she dumped him over his disturbing social media rants. He said that he had a panic attack as a result of the vile hate that he continuously spewed on X. In his new song called Bianca, it goes, "My baby, she ran away. But first, she tried to get me committed. I'm not going to the hospital because I'm not sick. I just do not. I just do not get it." He raps on the track. Well, he actually is singing it. He says, "She's having a panic attack, and she is not liking the way that I tweeted. Until Bianca's back, I stay up all night. I'm not going to sleep. I really don't know where she's at. Obviously, this is her. Um, so on and so forth. All right.
It's not
Obviously,
on
this is the
Apple Music.
track list. Hmm?
I'm looking for it. It's not on Apple Music.
No, they debuted it on a lot of different platforms and stuff like that. So
Okay.
he continues to crash out, and he has a lot of different rants and stuff like that. But with that being said, should we be concerned about Ye in a general sense? Like, do y'all think that he's truly lost it and saying that he needs to be committed? What do you think about the fact that his latest chick, his wife, has now left him? What are your thoughts about Ye in general? Anybody can jump in.
He needs to take his meds. He'll be okay.
I'll jump in. Slimmy is just distracting me. Um, I don't know. I think Kanye is going through a lot, but I don't blame his wife because they said he's been the one that's been putting her up there naked like that. And, to me she seems like a quiet, submissive type of girl. And I
Out the
love
way.
Kanye musically, but yeah, he's whatever he's going through, I don't think he needs a woman or anything right now. I think he needs to focus on himself. And that's just my observation. But I love Kanye.
Okay, see. Okay, see.
I feel like when we don't talk about Kanye enough, as far as the internet, he does something to stir his
Facts.
name up. So
Facts.
I don't know whether to take him seriously or not. It's like whenever we're talking about somebody else, here he comes with something.
Facts.
I think he just likes the attention. I think he likes to
Yeah.
stay relevant. He likes for people to talk about him because it's nothing, and then all of a sudden he crashes out of nowhere all the time.
Facts.
It'll happen again. He been crashing out for a while now, so
Hmm.
he likes us talking about him. He needs to stay relevant. I could never
Y'all
be a
actually, y'all
superstar. I couldn't.
you think that he's just clout chasing, Molly?
I do, yes. All the and I'm not saying he doesn't genuinely feel the way he expresses, but it just seems like whenever we're not talking about him, all of a sudden he does something and then we're just talking about him.
Hmm.
I think it's intentional. I think he just wants to stay relevant.
Slimmy, what are your thoughts?
Kanye got to realize that he just keep getting played. The women that are being put into his life are being placed there. He's not really meeting them on accident, or it's all being dictated to him. He's being controlled and he's being played.
Controlled by who, Slimmy?
His handlers. That's
Well,
how he
didn't
meet.
she work?
You think he got
Didn't
handlers?
she work for him
Oh,
though?
he got handlers for sure.
She was his employee, I thought, or they worked together on his something.
It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Like none of this shit is by circum. It's It's all by design. And Kanye West keeps getting played. These women, they don't care about him. They are there for a reason. Kim Kardashian was just there to have his kids, or whatever.
Mhm.
And she pretty much got over because that boosted her career, you know what I'm saying, through the roof. Like through the roof.
Well, I
Like
thought allegedly
nobody
wasn't
was
he cheating on Amber Rose with Kim K like years prior? I thought
no
they
matter.
already had like a little secret thing going on
It don't
way
matter.
before they got married.
Once
So she
he
probably
once
loved him.
once they got no, she ain't love him. You could tell by the way she left him. She ain't
Well, do
love
you know
him.
why she left him? Allegedly, he was sleeping with a big makeup artist who's a man. I would leave.
What?
That was like a whole scandal. I'm just saying. Allegedly.
Well, anyway, I'm a I don't think anything in Kanye's life is what he thinks it is. He think he in control. I do not think he's in control. I think everything that's going on around him is being put there. He think he doing whatever. He not even coming up with the music for himself anymore. He not even coming up with the music for himself anymore. Like it's all a game. They playing with him. I mean, he already told us he sold his soul. He put that in the music several times. He on drugs. They got him drugged up all the time. Well, they used to have him drugged up. I don't know if they still do. But I believe he's perfectly well aware. He just don't want to accept it. He's just gonna keep moving, and this is gonna be his life. But he is an attention starved dude. That's the main problem. So he gonna go on these episodes. He gonna have these rants, and that's gonna overshadow his genius because he's attention starved. So all this ranting, raving, that's what the shit is we gonna talk about. But when he get back to the music, and he just in the studio, and he just making music, and he doing concerts, we're not gonna talk about that shit. We're gonna talk about the concert until he does this again, and it's gonna keep happening because he's just gonna push it to. He gonna keep pushing it to the edge because now he trying to go after a certain group, and it's the wrong group to go after. That's just the truth.
Well, he did an interview on one podcast where he walked out and they were saying, like, when the camera was off, he was normal and calm. And as soon as the camera cut on, it's like he went to action mode and just started putting on a show. I think
He's
he's looking for clout.
he's
I
attention
think we,
starved.
yeah, I think we be thinking way too deeply. Some of these people, they make their money off of attention. So
Yeah, he's still attention starved, but that don't mean his life ain't being controlled. It
Didn't he
don't mean
get
his
rid of
life
that
ain't being
guy?
controlled. You say what?
Didn't he get rid of that guy?
I don't
You
think
know
you
what I'm
can
talking
get
about?
rid
The
of
bald headed guy that was his handler.
I don't think you can get rid of a hand I think you can move one out the way. It's always gonna be one there though. I don't think he's in control. I don't because how does a woman adhere and listen to you and is submissive to you, but then when you doing your regular shit, your regular rant, all of a sudden she's fed up with it.
it's not a
No.
regular rant. It's super. He's putting a target on his back.
Well, it's not nothing new though. He been having these rants. He been having these rants for like 10 years now.
I
It's the
wouldn't have
same.
left with the rant. I would
It's
have left
this.
when I had to be butt naked on the red carpet.
But how do you do that in it? But then you call it quits when he's doing the same shit.
That's my point. That's my point. So
Yeah,
yeah, I feel you.
because she's there. She wasn't there to be his wife. She wasn't there to be his wife. She's there as a form of control. When Kanye doesn't get his way, he explodes. So now he going on this ego trip about getting his wife back. He did the same thing with Kim K. This is the same exact thing. Except the last time, what was the dude? Pete David? What's his name? The white dude who's a part of that group. That's why he going at him, like that.
Who you talking about, Pete?
Yeah, he's a part of that group that
The
Kanye goes after.
SNL dude, the comedian.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pete.
Pete Davidson, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's the exact same play.
I'm looking at it completely. I just think that Kanye is out of his fucking mind.
Mm-mm.
I know y'all are on like he handlers and all of this shit. Listen, bro. I think that Kanye is crazy, and niggas wasn't wrong about him in the first place. The first time that he started doing this shit, the second time that he started doing this shit, the third time that he started doing this shit, and we keep making excuses because this niggas gave us great albums and phenomenal clothing at different points in his life, and we keep trying to hope that he come back and he get himself together. But I don't think it's any excuse for a lot of the shit that he didn't did. Some of the stuff that he didn't said on Twitter was egregious as fuck. He's talked shit about people's kids. He didn't said some of the craziest junk that I'd have never seen in my life. And I, at one point, thought that he was just being blackballed and all of this stuff. But that nigga crazy, bro. He is crazy in my opinion. He out of his mind, and I don't know why they just don't call a spade and say that this nigga's he's dumb. He's dumb. I think that he ain't never been the same since he lost his mother. He probably was on a spectrum before she passed. She was probably the only one that was keeping him sane. And when she passed, it unleashed, you know what I'm saying, all of the crazy. He probably never should have been famous. And in my opinion, honestly, and I hate to say this, what I believe and what I predict is gonna happen is something gonna happen to that nigga, and it's gonna be self-inflicted. And ain't nobody gonna pay attention until it's all said and done. I think he out of his fucking mind, and we keep making excuses for him and trying to act like the industry ruining him. He be saying shit, crazy as shit about everybody, bro. I think he out of control. I don't make no excuses for him after some of the stuff that he done said and did, bro. And I'm a huge advocate for free speech. I think he out of his mind.
I don't know what he said. What you like? I didn't see him saying
He was
that.
on X going out of control, bro.
He was.
He was out of control. He probably said some of the most egregious things that I've ever heard anybody say on the platform. You muted, Quentin.
It was like for 5 days straight too. Like it was nonstop.
Yeah, it was nonstop.
Yeah.
He was going after people again.
No, he was just talking to himself.
He did that too. He went after everybody. He said,
Yeah, is
It
that
was
the one where he went
random.
after Jay-Z and he said the kids was,
No, he did that. That was later.
Yeah, he was talking about the Kardashians. They only have black kids for content. He was saying a bunch of stuff.
I mean, is that a lie?
No, I don't think it's a lie. No.
Okay, then. So what are we talking
no,
about?
but the
What do you mean
Jay-Z's
it's a lie? You
one
can't talk about
was
somebody else's
wow.
kids. As much as this motherfucker talk about people shouldn't get in between what he got going on between him and his ex-wife and how much they shouldn't talk about his kids. The first thing that this nigga do is start talking about somebody else's kids.
Well, he's a part of that family, technically, whether they exile him or not. So I mean, he does.
You can't talk
He
about
does.
somebody else. He was talking about Jay-Z and them kids, bro.
I'm talking about the Kardashians. Like he
Nah,
can
he was
speak.
talking about Jay-Z kids. That's what got me
I
to
don't
notice.
know. What I'm saying is he can speak about the Kardashians kids, and that's not a lie. If they are black kids for content, shit.
He said all them kids was room 9.
Huh?
He said all the that's what he said.
Oh, who kids?
Jay-Z.
He was talking about Jay's kids, bro.
I'm talking about the Kardashians.
I'm talking about what he said. I'm not gonna limit what he said to just that. He been saying some disrespectful shit, bro.
I'm not denying that, but I'm saying
And I love Kanye.
Kardashian, him speaking about the Kardashians kids, that's not a violation.
That is a violation because that ain't his kids.
His kids are a part of that family.
Don't
If
matter.
he notices, if he notices a trend that's going on with that family, I don't think it's out of line for him to point that out.
Oh, it's 100%.
Talking about Jay-Z's kids is definitely, he definitely shouldn't be saying that. He should
I
not.
think
He
it's
should
completely
not be
out of
saying
line.
that.
I think it's out of line. You can't talk about nobody else's kids. You can't tell other people not to talk about your kids and then talk about other people's kids. I don't care how close they are to you. Like I don't have permission to talk about my brother's kids just because that nigga is in my family. I shouldn't be talking about. I can talk about him, but I can't talk about another nigga kids. I shouldn't be able to talk about nobody kids if I'm telling them to stay out of my business. Because you know what? Let's be real, bro. They don't say nothing about him.
Who's
None
that?
of that family ever mentioned nothing about Ye, bro. None of the Kardashian. You've never heard none of them motherfuckers say anything about Ye. They never say nothing about this nigga.
I have to go back and look.
Well, you would have to like
I'm
watch
not gonna
all the
go back. I'm
seasons
not
of their
actually.
Kardashian show. That would be
Actually,
hard.
I'm not gonna go back and look.
Yeah.
I don't even, I'm not. I'm not gonna even lie and act like I am. No, I'm not. Now, that's hard to believe that they've never said anything about Kanye when
What do you mean it's hard to believe? Slimmy, if you haven't seen it, then all you can go by is what you know.
it was a whole point where they was. I don't know.
And what do you mean? Like, he married them hoes. You can't marry into a family that everybody told you not to do it in the first place, and then you start getting mad at it because niggas is holding you accountable for your badass decisions. He married her.
I've been said that was a mistake. I've been
No,
said
it's
that
not a mistake.
when it
It's
happened, when he was dealing
bro.
with her, I said that was a mistake.
Nah, bro, that nigga, he wrong. He out of his mind, bro. Like I'm
I don't think he's
honestly,
crazy though. I don't think he's crazy.
I think he crazy. I 100% think he crazy. It's
Nah.
no reason in the world why you would torpedo your whole life just for attention and not say that you're crazy. I don't know nobody that will fumble that big of a bag and not say that they're crazy. In hindsight, that nigga was crazy for burning his relationship with Adidas. In hindsight, he was crazy after fucking up the whole bag with Adidas. He may be the bag chaser of the decade. I mean, the bag
Back
fumbler of the
fumbler.
decade.
Yeah.
He might be the bag fumbler on the decade, bro.
I don't agree with the Adidas. The Adidas thing was like they weren't trying to give him that money. I can't agree with that.
What do you mean? What do you mean you can't agree with it?
They weren't trying to give him the money, man.
What do you mean? They made him a billionaire.
But they weren't trying to give him more. They weren't trying to give him the cut that they said they would. And then when the shoes exceeded beyond what they thought, they still weren't even trying to give him the money.
Nah, bro. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Nope. Because we never heard their side of it. And everybody just keep being quiet with this nigga because he keep acting like he going off the rails. The fact of the matter is, I believe that nigga was doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that they not saying. And we automatically took his side because we love Ye. But think about it, though. Think about it, Slimmy.
No, Adidas.
Slimmy. Hold on, Slimmy. Think about it for a second. If they selling shoes and a partnership is beautiful, the one thing that I don't think that any company and nobody has ever accused, nobody, not one athlete, not one player, not one issue, not nobody in history, not a soccer player, because you got to remember, Adidas is more than just basketball, is more than just fashion. Not one person ever in history ever accused Adidas of doing bad business. In hindsight, not one person. Now, you telling me that the person that's making them billions of dollars, billions, that they're going to do them dirty? Fuck up. They made the nigga a billionaire. They was making billions. If me and you both making billions together and the relationship is good and nobody had a problem whatsoever, why the fuck would I fuck that up?
I don't think that's how it went.
Adidas did not want to fuck up the relationship, bro. You got to
But
remember why that started.
But they
going
didn't want to
back
give him the
and
money.
forth.
They even put out a press release about that,
That's
Anton.
not what happened. That's not what happened, bro. What happened was Ye started going off the rails and talking all of that J stuff, and he started going crazy. And that shit was bad for the brand, and that shit started fucking up the money, and they started distancing themselves. They started preparing for that nigga to crash out because apparently they knew how to deal with the nigga in the same way, and they knew shit about what was going on before. Come on, man. Wait. Look. You
I think
can't.
you're conflating things because
You
like
can't have a pattern of fucking up for the entirety of the time, bro. The nigga burned every single bridge that he could possibly burn. Even to today, right now, the nigga just got done throwing Jay-Z under the bus after he admitted that Jay gave him 20 M's as a loan. He burned every single bridge because he thought that he was the bigger thing. The nigga just called himself a god. He called himself Jesus, dog.
that don't have nothing to do with the Adidas deal, though.
Yes, it do, bro, because it mean that he think that he bigger than the program, man. He think that he bigger than everything and that he ain't never got an answer to nobody. He could fuck up the money and all of this shit.
Where I do agree with that he does think he's bigger than everything, but that does not change that Nike and Adidas shitted on him.
Nike didn't shit on him. Nike said that they didn't want to do the deal.
Nike did not want to pay him what he was asking because he came up with the concept and those shoes sold through the roof.
Right.
Adidas did the exact same thing.
Can't say that. First of all, Adidas made him a billionaire.
No, I think it was a lot of things that wanted. I ain't gonna get into that. But the thing that happened with Adidas was they already knew what happened with Nike. So Kanye he already knew what happened with Nike. He wasn't about to let that shit happen again. What it was the expectations for what those shoes were going to sell went through the roof once them shoes started going. Mm-hmm. They had concepts for other shoes that Ye brought people in for. And then once they started producing all these shoes, they didn't want to give him the money he started asking for. It was time to renegotiate. They weren't trying to give him that money.
So how did they fuck him if they just didn't agree to do a deal with him after they decided to renegotiate? If Ye signed a deal to do this, they executed on a deal. They never said that they didn't pay him for what they agreed on. If he then asked for more money and they say, no, we don't want to fuck with it, regardless of whether or not the next concept was going to be successful or not, that means that Nike fulfilled their obligation, he fulfilled his obligation, and they decided to amicably move on. Now, we could say that, well, they should have did a deal or they shouldn't have did a deal, but Nike didn't fuck him. Nike didn't owe him nothing.
Nike knew it was on the table, and they didn't.
But they don't owe him shit, Slimmy.
I will give you the Nike shit. I'll give you the Nike shit. They didn't want to sign because they didn't want to pay him money. They didn't want to pay him a larger cut after what they saw the shoes were going to do.
No, yes. They didn't want to give him ownership like Jordan.
Okay, that's the same thing. They didn't want to give him. They didn't want to give him the money. They didn't want to give him the money for what he was asking. And Adidas, huh?
That don't mean that they fucked him.
Okay, and I said okay. I said I'll give you that. But what I'm saying is with Adidas, they still tried to print. They still tried to produce the shoes that he designed after they said they weren't fucking with him no more.
So after they said he didn't own the shoe. Listen, Nike still drops Barclays to this day.
Okay, we talking. We
already owe Barkley money.
We passed the Nike. We on Adidas.
Okay, so let's move to Adidas then.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like with Adidas, they were still using his designs after they said they didn't want to fuck with him no more.
Okay,
they were still gonna try and use his designs.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is foul as fuck.
Okay,
y'all already said y'all didn't want to pay me for these designs that we got going on.
You're jumping ahead. Here's the question: why did Adidas decide to dissolve the relationship in the first place? That's what I'm asking.
Because he was asking for more money.
Because the nigga was crazy and he was torpedoing the relationship. That's what. Yeah, listen. This is around the same time that me and Charleston White was doing a whole bunch of fucking interviews. Ye retweeted what I put out. He retweeted my shit right? He tweeted out the interview that me and Charleston White did. He was out here going crazy. He was going nuts because this is around the same time that Kyrie was having issues with Nike because Kyrie had tweeted out whatever that was on Amazon, that documentary. All right. This was around the exact same time. Ye was going nuts and he was talking wild shit. He was talking some crazy shit that was happening. And he was talking about the small hats and all of that other shit. Adidas, especially during this time, because this was around the time that a little bit after everybody was locked down and all of that shit. And so everything was sensitive because we had the whole Black Lives Matter shit that was popping off or whatever. And Ye decided to give his input into what was happening on the social issues. And that's when they started to have problems. And that's when they started to dissolve the relationship because Adidas started to distance themselves. And they had a whole new slate of Yeezys that was supposed to come out. Because I remember, as far as a shoe community, and you could ask the shoe community, because Adidas had produced a whole bunch of Yeezys that never got released, and they was trying to figure out whether or not they was going to just get rid of the shoes altogether, or if they was going to still put the shoes out in order to recoup some of the money that they use in order to produce it and put the research and development into it. That's what happened. Ye torpedoed the relationship before they could release all of the shoes, and then that's when they started having a conversation about what his contract was. Now, I can give you that it's a possibility that they started to still try to reproduce shoes based off of his designs after that, but it was Ye that torpedoed that relationship after everything had been going swimmingly all that time.
Well, you skipped a step, because they actually started fucking the relationship up before all the Black Lives Matter stuff. It was already where Ye was he was already trying to renegotiate. You know what I'm saying? He was already like the sales was through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And Ye was already preparing, like, yo, we got to do something new because this shit about to pop off. So that's when it started becoming tumultuous. Like, it was before it was, I was reading about this shit like before Black Lives Matter, before he started. They used that as a cover up.
For
They
what?
used that
What
as
did
a
they
cover
do?
up. They used the spasm as a cover up. Like,
listen, bro, this is my perspective.
To validate it.
This is my perspective. I think that the nigga is out of his mind.
You got to stop saying that.
No, I'm not gonna stop saying it, man. Dog, if you read his tweets, this nigga was praising Hitler and all of this other type of shit, bro. Like, if you read his tweets, he was saying some of the most disrespectful. I don't even think that I could have came up with anything more disrespectful than the shit that he was saying. He been burning bridges, going off on people, throwing people under the bus for years now, bro. And nobody is holding this nigga accountable. They just acting like this is normal. And oh no, it's all of the companies. Man, at some point, you got to take responsibility for what the fuck you got going on. I don't know how y'all are saying this nigga is not crazy.
I don't agree. I don't think he's crazy.
He spent millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad to sell a t-shirt with a fucking swastika on it, bro. And then it was so egregious that Shopify took the whole fucking site down, and it was like, all right, man, this nigga's out of his mind. You telling me that that's normal?
I mean, he gonna say what he gonna say.
Shit.
You're not gonna give a fuck.
Slimmy don't think an artist that's great can do anything wrong, bro.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that. I said the nigga is attention starved. I said the nigga be doing some shit that he knows is gonna get under people's skin. He does that shit on purpose. Why he's doing that shit, I don't know. But obviously he trying to make himself a martyr. And he feels like he can say what.
Slimmy. Why would you want to make yourself a martyr? That shit is not normal. Who want to die? Who's trying to die for something?
I mean, if you listen to his music, like it ain't shocking. It ain't shocking. It is not shocking. It's not shocking, man.
Did you see this nigga come out in that academics interview with that black KKK hookup on?
Yeah.